Righty ho, guys, and welcome to the final TTR of the not TTR. Goodness me, where am I? What day is this? The final YouTube show of the week, and it's great to have you on board. It has been all week. Hope you've enjoyed what has been quite interesting. I think we've been for the second week having a look at this new strategy that we're trying to create, or built into shape, let's put it that way. And let's go there straight away, shall we? I'm actually looking at Pound Aussie at the moment because it's something that I might have traded. I can hear a little noise in the background. A special guest. Hello, mate.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, look, going well. Top of the world.
Good. You had a good week?
Yeah, we've had a fun week.
Oh, great.
Not a whole lot of money in the bank, but a little bit.
Yeah, good, good.
Yeah, nothing special. Just, well, to be fair,
Steady.
we've been following, well, what I hope will be a new system that we've come up with. As I was just saying, we're trying to belt into shape this pound US dollar,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe pound something else. London Open trade, and
Oh, cool.
so far so good, mate. Yesterday's was a belter, of course, and
Yes.
that saw through on pretty much all of the pound crosses as the pound just went nuts, and the FTSE went nuts the other way. How'd you go?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I went pretty well with the FTSE to the downside. I am now looking for some upside, so there may well be a trade early doors if we can get on board. Let's see what happens. But I am looking for a FTSE long.
All right, well, we'll set this pound thing up, and then we'll go straight to you and have a look.
Okay, mate. Sounds good.
Okay, so guys, again, the system is this. Well, the entry system is this. We haven't yet determined what the management system will be. One of two. You can use the range of the previous three bars to London Open on an hourly chart. This is the hourly chart. So we've got a breakout candle already. And what we will seek to do, I'll just pull that back into shape a little bit. We'll seek to either trade that bar 10 pips above it for our entry long, 5 pips below it for our entry short, or you could use the range of the previous three bars. So 1, 2, 3. Not a whole lot of difference, but let's set that up. The low of the range is 131.047. Let's call it 131.04. So we'll go 130.99. I think might be the go there. 130.99 is right about, goodness me, right about there. 130.99, bingo, and we'll make. Why did I do that? Sometimes I'm just a lunatic. We don't want it white, we want it red. And the long, well, we can't really put it on yet, but let's say that that is going to be the high of the bar, and it's 131.43.1. Let's call it 131.44 and go to 131.54 as our entry long. 131.54 is in that vicinity. Let's get it right. 131.54. I'm going to, before we finish the show today, give you my thoughts on what we should be doing with this, guys, in terms of management. Because nobody has put their hand up yet and say, well, here's what we should be doing. Once again, I'm getting out of that before I should. What I want to do is call that a greenie. There we go. I won't put it in on, actually, green's bloody horrible on this chart. Let's go.
Oh, mate, get ready for a FTSE trade. We're just waiting.
Go straight to you then.
Okay, mate. Let me see if I can get on here. Oh, I can't share at the minute.
That means I'll have to go. I'll see you later.
All right, buddy. See you shortly.
Hang on. Well, I can't even do that. Here we go. Ready, set, go.
Okay, really
Oh,
fast.
I'm still here.
Oh, good, good, good.
Amazing.
Okay, so we are looking for a long. I am going to go long. Just waiting for a couple more pips to the downside. Here we go. That'll do. Right, I have got my long in the market on the FTSE 100. I am buying. I'll just show you my line because I know that didn't come up that time. There we go. So there's my line on the FTSE 100, and I'm just playing the bounce off the daily pivot effectively. So looking for a little bit of upside here. And really, I mean, the thing about the downside is that the downside may well play out here. Let's just put this on a 5-minute chart. The downside may well end up playing out because of the pound. You know, we've seen a strong pound, so there may well be a little bit further to go with this. But I quite like this. Let me just have a quick look at some of the levels here. Now, you see, there's an area of confluence around here which I quite like as well. So if I put in the hourly here, then you can see that there's just a little trend line just along here. So yes, it does need to kind of hold above. We can clean that up a little bit. Hold on a second. Let's clear this up a little bit. There we go. There we go. Right, so we need the market not to close under that particular level. So it's got to get back up here. But I just quite like this spot, and the stops can be at the low of the range really, because what we have is potentially. Let's not move that. Yeah, you could probably put them down there. You might not need to go down that far, actually. So maybe I'm after effectively 100 pips, and I'll show you why I'm after 100 pips. So that would make it a 2-to-1 if you put your stops at the low. You can always add on the way up if it goes. This area here should hold. So if you want to be a little bit more aggressive with that, then we can't really be kind of crossing beyond there. So you could certainly put a stop in at around about 20 pips. I think a 20 pip stop loss would be absolutely fine with this one. And then if it does break down, then it's likely to see the lows anyway. So there's always another opportunity down there if necessary. So yeah, so I would look for a 20 pip stop loss. Entries around where we are right now, so 170, 71.78, 71.80, something like that. With a stop loss of around about 20, call it 20. Actually, you know what? 20 pips will be fine. 20 pips will be fine. So you've got a 20 pip stop loss, and we're aiming for around about 100 pips. Now let me show you why. When I bring up my 4-hour charts, this is what's going on. Now yesterday there was a few guys in the session when we were talking about the sentiment cycle. And I pulled it up on a daily chart, but actually we can put it up on a 4-hourly as well. And if we consider what went on here, this is kind of our fear area, and we look for an inverted head and shoulders to show us something of a reversal, and that is what we've got. We've got a left shoulder here, a head here, and a right shoulder. So I am looking for a bit of a push, but nothing hugely significant. Really, what I'd quite like to see is this fib area looked at, which is around about 72.90. That would also bring us back to this low here, and just looking along, there's a horizontal level. Now it could pop up to the 61.8, which is where the monthly pivot is, and that's around about another 30 pips. So at this particular point, it's not that I'll be closing the trade if it goes up there. What I'll be doing is just tightening up. So I'll tighten the stops up, a little bit more than I would normally, just in case there's a bit of a retracement. Now that retracement may turn into something of another opportunity just for another push, but that is the first port of call. I want to see what price action does here. Is really what I'm saying. And if price action is struggling at the point of the 72.80 level, sorry, 72.90 level ish, then maybe between 72.85 and 72.90, then I will just tighten things up. You know, I'll use maybe a 5-minute chart or a 15-minute chart just to tighten things up just a little bit, and then see what gives after that. So that is the trade, mate. We are in the market, and it is currently very, very slightly in profit. So we'll see how this one goes. See if we can actually break through this level. There are fundamental reasons for a long here, which are namely because of the US-China trade war, which supposedly isn't as bad as has been reported. So it doesn't seem to me so much of a concern. The pound is a concern, and that could kibosh this whole thing. But it's on fire again, is it? Let's have a quick look at the pound.
I haven't been watching it. Actually, I've been watching you.
Yeah, it looks like it's it's off again. Let's have a look on the 15. Yeah, it's off again. Struggling a little bit there. So it might just retrace just a shade for us. Looking across the board, and we're seeing gold just coming off a little bit as well. We're just in a 15-minute first lower low. So if this becomes a lower high, maybe we start to see gold move down. I've got to say I'm still kind of bearish on gold. When I look at these charts, I've got a kind of bearish outlook. All it's really done is, yeah, it's a great bar, isn't it? And it's just tested the structure of the downside. So I you know, if that low gets taken out, then I still think there's some further room to go lower with gold. So quite like that one, just as a barometer. Looking at the Dow has already had a little bit of a boost, but I think that there's a little bit further to go with the Dow. It's right on monthly pivot, actually. That's not so healthy. Well, that's not such a good sign, to be honest. The Dow, you know, being at monthly pivot, but maybe we get a little bit of a slowdown. The S&P is through weekly pivot, so it might well come and test these levels here again. So don't mind that at all. Let me just have another quick look at the Dow. Yeah, the Dow's probably got at least another 100 pips, I would have thought. Very similar looking bars here to the FTSE. The Dow. So watching this one fairly closely, and the Aussie is the other one I'm interested in, but there's no relief really with the Aussie, unfortunately, when it comes down to data. But I really like the potential upside with the Aussie. Again, I was discussing this last night when we were doing the Master Trader, and the Aussie currently is my weapon of choice, mate. Which you know, obviously, I wanted to discuss with you because that is your area of expertise. And I am after some upside with it.
Well, mate, I'll give you a very good reason to do that in a minute.
Oh, great.
It may have slipped under your radar. I'm not sure, but when you're ready,
I think I'm ready. I'm sure I've forgotten something. Oh, that's what I was going to say as well. Shinzo Abe also provides the Japanese market with extra stimulus. So I was saying there were some fundamental reasons for a long FTSE, and ultimately it is down to trade, and it is down to the Japanese stimulus. They're my two reasons for going long with the worldwide markets right now.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I just was distracted and I wanted.
Yeah, no problem, mate. Yeah, just saying that my reasons for a long is because of the trade in the trade spat between the United States and China potentially clearing up a little bit. And also there is some stimulus packages being introduced by Shinzo Abe in Japan. So so the market always loves a stimulus package, and I think, considering you know, how low we've come in the FTSE, there is just the potential for a little bit of a bounce here. There's also the bar. You know, I'm also not discounting this particular bar here. This is a daily bar, so I'm not discounting that bar as well. So I think we've seen a little bit of an indication of some heels being dug in here, which is why I quite like the long. I have to be completely frank. It's not exactly as low as I'd like it. So if I'm looking at this on a slightly broader picture, you know, what might happen here to kind of really get me excited of the price. Really, it's kind of coming down and probably testing the weekly trend line rather than what we've seen with that that daily. There's a possibility that what we're looking at is the closing trend line instead, which is right on top of where we are, and I guess that's why I quite like it. But there is this head and shoulders pattern here. So the other aspect of this is that I am not discounting the fact that I may well be going long to go short. I'm going to, in actual fact, I'm now kind of talking out loud and recognizing what I probably will do here, which is probably see if the market comes up to the 72.90 level and then take a short. And see what happens. Now, if it keeps going, then I will manage that short, but I'm going to leave the long initially in the market if we can get up there. But if I can get a short on around about 72.90, then what I'd quite like to see is a pop up for this week, a pop back down again for next week, and then come down to a slightly lower level if possible, down here somewhere. So maybe another 100 pips to the downside, and then again look for the longs. So I'm really trying to go long to go short, but it won't be a short to go long. It'll just be a long to go short. Close the short down here and see if I can hop on the long to take us into the end of the year.
Okay, mate. Santa rally. We'll see.
That's what I will look for, mate. Maybe. Yeah, we did. No, we didn't, did we?
No.
Now, there is a lower level down here as well, which I'm also aware of, and I'm also watching out for. So there's a possibility that this market really does break down, and there's potentially another 300 pip run to the downside, which is another reason I'd quite like the short, and then just start to see what happens. Does it develop into a really significant short? If I can get it into it, that is, I'm looking for the 72.90. So if I can get in around about 72.90, does it become a significant short? Because this would be my ultimate target around about 68.90. So there is quite it's quite a lot to consider. There's a few things kind of going on here, but obviously right now I'm just waiting to see whether I can get a pickup in activity from this particular point. So far, it's holding its ground. So let's see if we can get a genuine takeoff. But the key thing here is that the shorts go in around about 100 pips above where we are now.
All right, mate. Happy days. I'll see if I can make your day a little bit happier with a reason to be bullish the Aussie. Hi, great. Sandra. How you doing? Great to have you on board. What have we got? We've got, let's change screens to start with. And go here. This is what I want to show you. I'm not in any trade, not about taking any trades, guys, until the 30-minute mark anyway. So we'll start here. Let's have a look at the Aussie and how the week's been. It is Aussie week. It's always Aussie week, first week of the month, right? Building approvals, up to shit. Company operating profits, terrible. Well, okay, not terrible, not so great. Chinese news is always interesting for the Aussie as well.
Yeah, so it is, isn't it?
Beat. So yeah. That's, I don't know if it balances out the minus 8.1 building approvals, but it's okay. Next day, current account. This is the one that may have slipped under the radar for people. That is massive. It's only orange news. I know that, but I want to show you something, Ash, if you haven't seen it.
Please do, mate. And chart. I've got something to mention about orange news in a minute. Okay, yeah, great. Okay,
look at that.
Yes, love it.
That goes back to 2000, right?
Yeah.
But it actually, this has not happened in 46 years.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, indeed.
So what's that telling us, Jeff? The trade balance, is that to do with trade balance?
Yeah, look, that's where it becomes a little bit confusing because we had trade balance today, which kind of conflicts with this. But we'll have a look at that in just a tick. But I saw this on Tuesday and I thought, holy mackerel, that's incredible.
You didn't say holy dooly?
No, well, I might have. I might have said a few other things. But this is, when you look at a chart like this and you think, no, they pressed the wrong button, something's wrong. But this is trending. it's actually trending upwards.
It's really interesting. You know, I've just brought up a definition here, and it says the current account records of a nation's transactions with the rest of the world. Specifically, its net trade in goods and services, its net earnings on cross-border investment, and its net transfer payments over defined periods. So when we're looking at trade balance, does that not give us quite a deep enough picture when we consider that this is probably more to do with the overall thing, to do with investments as well as the actual trade?
Yes, there are a few more things thrown in. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
The issue is, one is a quarterly, which is this one. The current account is quarterly, and the trade balance is monthly.
Right. So this carries more weight, longer the stronger.
I think if you go by the longer the stronger, then this is the one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And interestingly, it's less important according to the market, or according to the analysts.
Do we know what the RBA has suggested about drivers for any decision in interest rates?
Yeah, look, interestingly, not the RBA so much, but RBNZ, I know, have kind of changed their outlook a little bit. And those two guys talk to each other, as I understand it. So it wouldn't surprise me if the RBA does kind of change a little bit of a tack on the way they do look at things. But, you know, it's...
Oh, you gone, mate. Hold on, let me bring Jeff back. He's somehow self-muted, I think. Right, I'm just asking him if he has muted.
Yeah, apparently I had, mate. I don't know how.
Okay.
Maybe I was just fiddling my my cursor around too much.
Yeah.
So you know,
excited.
The normal things, you know, GDP, wages, all the inflationary type indicators. That's what they're looking at, as always.
Right. Okay.
But this, I actually don't know if this comes into their calculations at all.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. The point for me is, if more people are buying Australian goods, well, they can only buy them with Australian dollars, right? So they've got to buy Australian dollars.
Yeah.
And if this is going up and trending up, and it's coming out of a pit, you know, it's not a bottomless pit, but it is definitely a pit.
Yeah.
If it was just a spike, then I'd probably say, okay, big deal. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarters, that's a year and a half.
Yeah, do you know what? And the other aspect of this, you know, if we're sort of saying that current accounts is net earnings, you know, cross-border investments and net transfer payments, then surely this also would filter through into the treasury. I mean, you know, this has got to increase. This has got to create some tax income for the treasury. You'd think, you know, for the RBNZ and whoever else, you know, whoever it is, the government, I guess, over in Australia. So surely that's got to be a factor here too.
Well, as I said, I see it as a complete positive. Absolutely.
Yes, me too. Yeah,
I can't see anything negative for the Australian dollar in that number.
Yeah, yeah.
And the trend, more particularly the trend. And whether the RBA do look at that or not is probably just another thing. The RBA statement, I guess you could call it less dovish than previous, but not by much. I don't think that really had anything to do with it. Here's the kicker, however, and GDP yesterday was a miss, and that doesn't help at all. But the interesting part is that when we go back to the charts, we'll see that hasn't really made a dent in the markets. So
that was yesterday, was it?
That was yesterday. Now today, I don't. This
Let's have a quick look at that. Do you know what's interesting about that as well? Is that if you bring up the chart of GDP, then
GDP, yeah,
I mean it's a miss, but is it that, you know, you've just shown us a chart which is hugely significant in how extreme it is. Now, if you look at that, I mean it's a miss, and it's a bit low, isn't it? But it's not
It's
not
about
below.
par. It's not. It's a
about
little
par.
bit below par.
Yeah. A little bit, but not below the line of zero though. So,
No.
that's not a disaster. I mean, I don't know, and this is the thing. I don't know when it comes down to the absolute catalyst that's going to drive the Aussie, but I quite like this idea of getting a basket of information to make the choice of whether we should be long or short of a currency. And just looking at it, I agree with you. I didn't look at that number. That wasn't a number that I'd considered, the current account. But you're right. It is a stellar beat.
Absolutely.
And that's the significant thing for me. Looking at those really extreme aspects, building approvals looks pretty ugly.
Yeah, today wasn't a great day. That's a fact.
But you should say the Chinese data, not is that I don't know. You pronounce that, I guess, Caixin or Caixin.
I'll call it
Caixin. Caixin manufacturing PMIs, not too bad. Actually, over the weekend we had some data out of China that wasn't too bad as well. So yeah, I think considering those factors that affect Australia, they're not too bad. Retail sales month over month was a bit dry. Trade balance doesn't look particularly great either. I don't know what that looks like on a chart, but
well, there's the difference. See, that's the monthly figure.
Yeah,
with a few more things thrown in.
Yeah.
Actually, a few less things thrown in. I think it is. I can't remember.
But again, you bring up the chart of that, and actually on aggregate, it's doing pretty well.
It's coming. It's trying. Let's get rid of that. There you go. Hang on, I'll get rid of it and bring it back up. Terrible looking thing. In terms of view, just dropped off trend, and as you say, it was a bit of a miss. But again, above par, well above par.
Yeah, well above par. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
No big deal. I get that. And of course, that is it for the Aussie for the week. The rest is down to NFP, I suppose, as to which direction Aussie US dollar goes. When I think about that, and we'll go to my charts now. There's one thing, and I've had this in the back of my mind for the entire week, if not for the last few weeks. I hate it when this control panel gets over my controls. The one thing, or two things really, that we've got here is a pretty solid base at the 67.45 mark, which is where I've got it. We didn't quite make that, but I guess it's a cloud of a price, and that's where I was looking to trade this long. And I've got a specific target in mind, and it's right here. I see that as Aussie territory, 70.81. I know it's a hard number to be looking at right now, but I definitely see it. We've got to get through this trade line, or this trend line really, and we're talking the 16th of February before we get to there. So there's a lot of time to pass. I understand that, and we may well retrace, and we may well find that level again. And if we do, then that's the point that I'll be looking at trading this long. If we get a break here and a retest, same story. I'll look to trade it and hang on to that until February 16th, if that's going to be the case. But yeah, mate, that's pretty much what I see on the Aussie.
Yeah, like it. Good spot.
Let's have a look at these pound things. Oh no, I better go through a couple of these currency pairs before we go any further, and what I'm looking at today. Euro dollar, we're still in this long that we took down here, and we've got our stops just below the monthly pivot. I actually see this as bullish, and I don't know why I'm a fan of the euro at the moment. I've got to be honest, because it doesn't actually go with my bias, as I said at the time. But that said, I really do see this as bullish. We have failed. I guess I go back to that chart. It's far more brilliant. And here's why. We've broken through the top of this range, And generally what I'm looking for when we come back inside is a lower high and trade it short. And mark my words, I'll still be looking for that. I will still trade that if it appears. But what I am seeing quite clearly is the failure of price to get back below this trade line. So it's broken it, retested it, come off it again, retested it again. Then we've gone again, and then we've come back again. This to me is a continuation pattern, and I'm looking for this to break to the high side. And again, that said, if I see this higher low here and I get maybe a confluence on a smaller time frame, I will trade this short. I don't care that I've got a long in the market. That's a completely different scenario. We were trading a different thing altogether. In fact, you know, if I'm honest with myself, I really should be thinking of taking more profit here, because what I'm actually was trading here was a false break of this trade line. I'll put that back in at the bottom of the range, which was entry here. My target should be there. So why haven't I taken more profit is the question I'm asking myself. And there's no answer for that except take profit, you idiot. So that's exactly what I'm about to do. I'm going to take profit, more profit on euro dollar. I'm going to keep the stop where it is, but I think I'm only going to leave a small portion of this trade to go to target now. Target's here, and we haven't even looked like getting there, but this may well be the day. And again, if we get that lower high, then I get interested. A couple of other things I'm looking at, if you want to trade what I'm thinking, then there's nothing to do here right now. Nothing at all. We're just in a range, and that's a good thing. I don't have a problem with that, but we're not at the top of the range. We're not at the bottom of the range. So until we are, there's absolutely nothing to do here. EuroCAD, sadly, this was what I was looking for, and that was a short back into and headed towards the bottom of the range. That was a news event last night, of course, the CAD with their BOC statement and interest rates. That's what the market thought of that, and unfortunately that now is something that's gone. The only way I could now trade this would be if price came back to here, gave me the lower high, then I could have a look to trade it back to the bottom of the range. But it's very, very tough from here, I must say. Aussie we've just spoken about, but we didn't speak about it in today's terms. The 30-minute chart is giving me this kind of thing, similar to what I was just speaking about on the 4-hour and daily charts. We've broken above this trade line, failed to come back below it, which again is a little bit of a bullish scenario for me. What I don't see, however, at the moment is anything to trade with in terms of a trade line. There's a little one that has formed very much intraday right here. What I'd be looking for is one of two things. Break here, find the support level, get back above it, retest it. Retest the confluence area, in fact. No chart. How old is that? No chart. Are you seeing my chart, Ash? No, I can see only.
No, where am I? I actually can't see. I haven't got a. I haven't even got a.
Sorry, guys.
Can you hear me?
Looking at the notes, I can hear you. Yes.
You can hear me. Sorry, buddy. I haven't even got a icon actually at the minute. Oh, hold on. Yes, I can. Yeah, I can see you.
What can you see?
I can see. At the minute, I can see Aussie dollar.
Aussie dollar. Right. Okay. YouTube's just caught up. Sorry, guys. I don't know what was happening there. Everything's all good now, I hope. You should be able to see. Sorry, Chandra. Sorry, mate. Sorry, guys. Okay, so all I was talking about was euro dollar, no trade there on the 30-minute chart. EuroCAD, went back into the range way too fast on the back of news, and I need to see it come back to the pivots now before I look for a lower high and trade it short. And the Aussie we spoke about before in longer term or longer time frames, but now on the 30-minute chart, the only way I could probably trade this is, well, I could trade either way, but I'm relying on my trade lines to tell me what happens next, and there's going to be an incredible I'm looking congestion. That's the word I'm looking for, of lines through here, and I never like that because there's going to be another one potentially through here or through here. I don't like it. I hate that. It means there's a lot of noise in the market. So I need to see this clear out of here. Maybe come underneath the trade line, and then find the support, which was resistance once again. Get back above the confluence area, daily pivot and trade line, retest it, then go long. That's what I'm thinking. The other thought process is if we do come back below this trend line now and retest that one from below, that's a completely different story and would mean a bearish outlook that I would have for that particular session. Aussie CAD. Well, when I look at this chart, I think, okay, that's a false break and a retest for trade line. That was CAD news. I was asleep. No way to trade that for me. So it's now gone too far for me to be thinking short. That's for sure. Am I thinking long on the back of that bar on the monthly pivot? I don't know so much, to be fair. This looks to be in a fairly bearish frame of mind. It is oversold in terms of a 30-minute chart. Oh, sorry, a 4-hour chart. So I would like to see some pullback. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, there's no trade there for me anytime soon. I have got an order set short on Euro Yen. If you're interested in following this one, here's my thought process. I've been kind of stalking this one. And the reason I have been stalking this one is come off the top of the range. Doesn't look evident at all there on the weekly chart. But when I drill down a little bit further and go to the daily chart, the daily chart's telling me double top or triple top, and now a lower high based on that triple top. So to me, that would have been a tradable candle. I didn't trade that on Monday. And the reason I didn't trade it on Monday is because the monthly pivot and the weekly pivot were dead ahead, and I didn't want to trade into them. They've done exactly as you would anticipate they would do, and they've driven the market higher. If they take out this high, then that trade is no longer valid. But whilst ever this is a high, it's still a lower high based on that triple top or double top, whatever you want to call it. So for that reason, I'm still thinking bearish. I'm being ultra conservative here. Instead of trading it underneath that bar now, I've now put my entry underneath this bar. I could have put my stop above that bar, but I chose to put it above the swing. So I'm taking a fairly substantial risk into this in terms of pips. But I do think if we get back here again, we're really going to test these lows and maybe the bottom of that channel as well. So if you're interested, the entry is at 120.08. Stop loss is 98 pips, and I repeat, if that high goes, cancel the order. Taking profit at 30 pips, which is just before these lows, but is significantly on that swing there. And that's all I'll do. I'll close the third at that point, and I'll just let the rest rip. If it does rip, then we've got probably about 400 pips available to us. So it's about a 4-to-1 trade if it does happen. To me, it's a pretty simple trading pattern. This is a retracement on a bigger move, and I would expect that to break to the downside. So that's why I'm interested in taking that trade. Not the greatest position to take it. I much prefer to have taken it up here somewhere, I've got to say. But in essence, the entry is exactly the same as if I had traded that bar, and I've got a tighter stop loss. Got to be happy about that at the end of the day. I'm not really watching too much else. I haven't been trading the pound other than the breakouts during the week. So I'm not really interested in those. The Kiwi seems to be too strong, and I want to trade against it, but it just keeps going. It really is on fire. The Kiwi is on fire.
Yeah, I've liked the Kiwi actually for a little while.
Sorry, mate.
I've liked the Kiwi for a little while, and maybe that's what gives the Aussie a bit of a boost as well.
They hurt. That's right.
Yeah, they can move in tandem occasionally, can't they?
Well, more often than not, actually.
Yeah.
I was looking for this to fulfil the sentiment cycle, and I think I've said all along this is one of the best examples of the sentiment cycle that I've seen.
Yes.
But yes. I think I missed the boat. This was the aversion point, and I was looking for the aversion point to be down here somewhere.
Yeah.
And this could well just go.
That does look pretty good, doesn't it? What's that against? Is that against the dollar or the CAD?
That's against the dollar.
The dollar, yeah.
And I was looking to trade either the dollar or the CAD. The CAD seems to have come off a little bit because we had good CAD news last night, of course.
Yeah.
So that may be an opportunity. That may well be an opportunity. I haven't really looked into the CAD news last night. I know they didn't change their interest rate, but apparently the statement must have been a little bit bullish, and that's why we saw those moves down on Kiwi CAD and others.
Yeah.
So really, that's about where I'm at, mates. I will just check the pound. And see
if have a look at the pound because it's certainly affecting the FTSE right now.
Still hasn't triggered, but
interesting.
It doesn't look to have turned around either, so that is interesting. Against the yen. Against the yen, that must be the trigger mark, isn't it? Must be very close to it anyway. Where's my colour? So entry 10 pips above. Oh my God. That's why I'm on the daily chart, no wonder. Oh, I didn't put these on, did I? Okay. So no, it wouldn't have triggered. So your entry level, if you're looking at monitoring this one as well. And guys, I still haven't had anybody put their ideas on this in the questions box yet. And it's nearly the end of the week. I've got one thing I'm going to share with you after or just before we go. Right, the high of that bar is 143.10, let's say. So 143.20 would be our entry. 143.20. So Ash, I've been challenging these guys all week to come up with a management of this particular strategy.
Yeah.
Nobody's had a crack.
Interesting. Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is like a 1-for-1 breakout, but that doesn't allow you to ride, which might not be what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything until somebody or until nobody has actually put anything in there, but I will give you my opinion just before we close down, as I said.
Okay, great. Yeah, great. Well, the pound has affected the FTSE. The FTSE, I don't know whether people have been stopped out or not. I'm still in, but I'm not sure if anybody else has been stopped out. And actually, the FTSE's around about 4 pips away from where I entered, and I'm considering just shutting down the long here. There has been a breakdown. I'm just going to watch the price action for a little while and see if it can break through the pivot, but maybe it's managed to pick up a little bit liquidity, or maybe we are getting a genuine reversal, of the move to the upside that we initially got. So I'm just gonna look out for it for a little while. But struggling, mate. Certainly, the first few bars were looking pretty good. Then all of a sudden we started to tank. Now we're just testing a level which could define the morning for us, whether we're going up or down for the day. Let's have a look at it together. Let's have a look. You need to give me power if you can.
I've got to take this gigantic gamble again.
Take the gamble, yeah.
Okay. It's not letting me do it now. Righto. Done. I'm still here.
Great, you're still there. Let's have a look at this. So we have, we're pretty much at entry, and this bar is quite key. It's only a 5-minute bar, but it's quite key. You know, if this bar starts to fail here, it may well suggest that we are going to be going lower for the opening session. And you can see that it would be a lower high. You know, we've taken out this area here, and now we're coming back to this point, and that would be the lower high. It's pretty much bounced, unfortunately, where probably around about 20 pips below, 22 with mine, 20 pips below the pivot. So I don't know where everybody got in. Some of you might still be in this. I don't know. But I'd watch out for this bar. You know, it might be sort of like one of those that we close down and let go, because the problem really now is that it's broken. It's not only at a point of a price breakdown, but also at a point of the trend line right along here. So this is putting it under some stress here. It's got to get back above. If it doesn't, then we may well be looking for some further downside. I'm not really interested in the downside, but I am interested in maybe just taking this off the table if we do start to break down here. So it's really a case of wait and see. I quite like. Let me just bring up the hourly and just have a look at that. Yeah, I'd quite like to wait to the top of the hour. You know, we've got 20 minutes or so yet, but a decent kind of low test bar here or hammer on the hourly would certainly get me interested. But if it's above the daily pivot but below this trend line, I'm okay with that. If it goes below the daily pivot, then I think it's probably time to look for different opportunities. So it's going to be a case of letting it establish itself, mate. But yeah, I still quite like it. I still quite like the long at this current stage. So I'm not clearing out just yet. You know, this is only a 15-minute breakdown. And it's got 3 more minutes to try and get above the line anyway, so I'd quite like to see that, as I say. If it does break down, then it's going to be pretty much the same as if we got stopped out. So I'm not too concerned at the minute, mate. But I'd like to see what happens in the next 18 minutes, 17 minutes, rather than just closing this down. I'd like to see what the hourly bar looks like.
Right, mate. I will go back and share this opinion that I've got on how we can perhaps manage this London Open trade that we've been looking at, and we'll go to the pound. We'll go to the hourly chart, and I'll give you my opinion on the best way that I think at this point to actually manage this. I won't go back too far, guys, because we haven't got a whole lot of time. But let's use this week, which was Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Let's use Monday. So we would have entered here 5 pips below the bar, right? Let me go a bit tighter and expand it out a little. Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So we enter 5 pips below this bar, which would have been that's what I'm looking for. Would have been pretty much bang on the weekly pivot. And as I said to you, there's no way I would have traded that. But we've got to use this as a completely different thing. It's got nothing to do with the way I normally trade. It's a different strategy altogether. So let's say our entry was just above the weekly pivot there. And what I sought to do prior was trade 3 bars, 3 hourly bars, and then close 1, 2, 3, no matter what happened. So you would have been out of the money here, not disastrous, disastrous, but you would have been out of the money. But what if you had trailed on a 15-minute chart? Oh, I hate doing this. This really annoys me. So we've got to find Monday again now. Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Is that Monday? That's Monday, right? So if we trailed our entries here, can't find the bar. There, weekly pivot. So our entries here, right? We get taken in here. 1, 2, 3. We're looking for trailing 2 seller bars. You can trail however you like, but I'm looking at trailing 2 seller bars. So had we done that, what we would have found is draw. Can you actually change the color of these things, Ash?
Change the color of what, mate?
Of the pen.
Oh, there should be a little a box that comes up. So when you select the pen, you should get lots of little dots that of color.
Should you?
Yeah.
Okay. That might be.
You got
blue.
that?
Might be blue with any chance. All right. So we would have got taken in on this bar here, right? Then what we do is we trail 2 seller bars.
Not seeing that on your chart at the minute.
Okay. Bloody white.
Okay. Oh yeah, there's your pen.
Okay, we'll have to put up with white. It says blue, but it's white. Whatever. So we got entered here. So we trail 2 seller bars. So no trail, no trail, no trail, trail. Seller bar, seller bar. So we put our stop loss here. We then trail the next 2 seller bars here and here. So we put our stop loss here. There are no repeats of 2 seller bars. So we're still going to lose here, but we're not going to lose a heck of a lot. So that's a loser on Monday by that trailing strategy, right? Then we go to Tuesday, and let me find the bar. Will be there, right? So what we do here on Tuesday is trail 2 buyer bars because we're buying, right? So if we're trailing 2 buyer bars here, we enter here. 1, 2 stops are there. 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 Then we can't do anything until we get to there. There's another 2 stops are there. There's another 2 stops are there. Same thing. 1, 2 stops are there. 2 more stops are there. 2 more stops are there, and we're out.
Oh, mate, that's brilliant. I love that.
You like that?
I really like it. Yeah, I really like it. So you're basically looking for groups of 2. It's got to be a minimum of a group of 2. Otherwise, you do nothing.
Yeah. Otherwise, you do nothing. Yes.
Yeah, I really like that. What if you get a doji?
Geez, you're a bloody arsehole.
Well, it only.
Why do you throw spanners in the works?
Do you know why? It's because the very last one you've got, prior to that, is a doji, and I wondered if you'd count that as a white or a black, or whether you have to ignore it.
No, a doji isn't a buyer bar, so
okay,
it's got to be a buyer bar.
Okay.
Or a white, whatever color you choose, but yeah. So there's your trail there. So you've managed to pick all of that up. And instead of using the 3 candles that I was talking about, which would have got you out there, then you've left all that on the table. So if you're getting genuine breakouts, which we've seen twice, I think, this week, then you're going to take advantage of that. Yesterday, there's the bar we enter here on this one. Let me draw again. So enter there, 1, 2 buyer bars, stops go to there. 2 buyer bars, stops go to there. 2 buyer bars, stops go to there, 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 there. Hang on, I've just got to change to my mouse. Yep, there's another one. There, 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 and we're out. We're out here. So again, if you get a genuine breakout, you're picking all of that up. So they're pretty good trades, guys. If you're risking, let's say you're risking at the bottom of the range, which is there, and your entry is here, 14 pips to pick up 120. Not too bad, eh?
Nice.
How many of them do you think you need per month to actually be in the money? Not too many.
No.
And I think what we've seen, Ash, over the last week or so, is that if we're getting losers, they're really, really small. And
Yeah.
we've only had one of them.
Yeah.
And the rest have been really, really good gains. So, early days with this, but really liking what and I knew when I traded years ago, and I just couldn't remember how I did it. But
so have you always done this 2-bar thing? Was this new? Is that part new?
Yeah, I've done that many times before. That's not a different thing, but different on this strategy. And I think what I've seen over the last week or so, that's my 2 bobs worth at the moment. That's how I'd like to manage this at this point.
Really good.
But, a lot of water yet to go under the bridge before we get this right. And guys, if you've got any ideas on it, even if if there's another pair, or you find a better way to manage the trades, then absolutely chuck them in.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, isn't it? Because as you say, another pair is almost an interesting possibility. But I quite like the fact that we're London Open trading the pound. It makes the most sense.
It does, absolutely, because everything changes when London opens. No matter what Asia thought, no matter what Australia thought, it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah,
because we've got everybody coming to their desks at the same time, and it's all about, okay, here's what we think. And generally, if that's different to what the Asia session has thought, you're going to get a fairly decent retracement on Asia, or a breakout on Asia. And if it's the same as what Asia thought, then you're going to get a continuation. So, I think it's always been a sound strategy, and something that I've always liked. For some reason, and I know the reason is because I haven't been in front of the charts at London Open, because I've had to do TTR later in the night. So I just can't be in front of the charts all the time.
Yeah.
And now that I am, let's go.
Well, I really like it. Anything to do with trading the pound, I like, because obviously it brings us more focus on it, which is important for the FTSE, which hasn't moved too much so far. We're around about three pips away from entry. Still struggling to catch a bid, but I'm not reacting just yet. I'm as I said before, I'm waiting for this 5-minute bar to the next 5 minutes to finish, so we get the end of the hourly. It just attempted to break out or break up again, but it's been swallowed up. So it looks like we're going to have a bit of a sticky day. I don't see the pound kind of doing hugely well at this stage. So
there's not a lot happening anyway.
No, that's positive enough for the FTSE. Do you know what it might end up being? That the FTSE can't really kind of break forward until the afternoon session, which is okay. As long as it kind of holds its line here, then we're not in bad shape. So
yeah, look, also we've had a lot of big moves, and it is NFP tomorrow, so there might be queues in the rack anticipating that.
Yes,
those who have made their money might be just hanging on for whatever that brings. So yeah, I'm not that surprised that we haven't got a whole lot of action yet. But
No,
that's
no.
not to say it won't, but it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. You never really know what's around the corner. So yeah, we just stick with it right now. I still quite like the inverted head and shoulders that we seem to be attempting to form on the hourly charts, and to a lesser degree the 4 hourly as well. So yeah, let's stick in there and see what gives here. But not convinced that we're going to plummet to the downside at this particular stage. The next 4 minutes is fairly crucial for that opinion, but I do want to see it close at least on the daily pivot. I don't really want to close below. If it's not significantly below, I won't be too concerned. But anything that looks like, you know, maybe 7 or 8 pips below, maybe even 10 pips below, that's going to be a little bit concerning for me. And then I will begin to manage this trade, maybe even close it down, because I've got some things to do on the weekend, and I don't really want this on my mind. So just waiting to see what's going on there, mate. But we've got, as I say, about another 3 minutes 40 seconds just to wait for this bar to form. So my queue is currently in the rack as well.
Okay, so no need to hang around.
No need to hang around unless anybody needs me to go through it again. But I think hopefully everybody's clear on the plan, and it is really looking for a 100 pip run to the upside. And I'm going to cling on to this trade for as long as humanly and tradably possible. But yeah, if it closes maybe at 71.70 or below, then it's time to get out, just clear out and go and do something else for the day.
All right, mate. I'll be going to go and do something else now. It's dinner time here, so I'll have a glass of wine and some dinner. And when I come back from that, I'll be looking at the Aussie, because that seems to be the nearest thing to a trade that I can see. And again, what I'll be looking for is either price to touch this trade line again and not go below it, or go below it, and then I'll be looking for a retest of that and maybe playing it short. If that doesn't happen and we get back above this trade line and retest it from above, especially if it comes back to the daily pivot as well, then that's a signal to go long. So,
is that your preference, Jeff?
The long?
Yeah.
Oh, I believe so, mate. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I see an inverted head and shoulders there as well.
Mate, you see him in your sleep.
It's not in the right area, but the fact that it's there is, maybe something.
All right, mate. Thanks for coming in. Great to have a chat and catch up with you before the week was out. Everybody else, thank you for your company all week. Don't forget to work on this management strategy, guys. I want to have some ideas next week. Okay, I think we'll be looking to trade this when we come back from holidays in early January, if everything goes well towards the end of the month. Have a great weekend, mate.
I will be in, I think, on Monday, and I'll definitely be in on Tuesday. Will I be in on Tuesday? Ooh, I land at 6:30. I might just be able to hop on somewhere. I'll see what I can do, mate. I might be able to get in on Monday and Tuesday, but we'll see. Monday I fly out. Tuesday I land. Tuesday morning I land. So Monday I fly out at 9, I think it is, and the show is 3 o'clock here. I've got to be at the airport at 7. I reckon I'll be all right. I reckon I'll be, even if I get to the airport, I'll be able to log on there. So yeah, one way or the other, I will be in on Monday.
So here you go, mate. That'll be good. We'll look to catch up then. Have a great weekend and hope everything goes well. And everybody else, again, thanks for your company throughout the week. And we will do it all again starting Monday. Have a good
Awesome.
One,
thanks, buddy.
See you, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Lewis. By the way, I will. Cheers, Daniel. Bye, Chandra.